Hello everyone, this is Steve Ostapo and this is Year of the Dad. So today we're going to talk about pre-baby budgets. Now this is going to be a two-part video. There's going to be a second one because I actually shot this once and it was kind of long, and I want to keep these short because I know as dads and parents in general we just don't have a lot of time. So if you like this video, if you like any of the videos, please like it below officially on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching this, and please share it with your friends, people who are about to be dads or other dads who have been dads for a long time. I want to get them in here in the community because I would love to hear from them myself personally. So I got my very first comment on the Year of the Dad channel, and it was from Dan, who's going to be a first-time dad in about 8 weeks. And so I thought, what a great time to throw in talk about money and budget, because I am very fiscally responsible, but like planning for a baby is different than just doing your normal budget, because your budget that you have right now, dads, is going to be very different as soon as that baby comes along. So there's just a few big things I want to make sure I touch on. So let's get started. Pre-baby budget. So hopefully in your household right now you have a budget, something that's on paper, like a plan for where your money's going to go before the month begins. If you don't, I would highly recommend picking up that habit now that you have a baby, because as I once heard, I heard it from Dave Ramsey, but it's been said other places before, if you don't tell your money where to go, you're going to wonder where it went. And so that's tenfold once you have a baby, because there are so many opportunities for your money to just kind of disappear. If you're already a spender, you're going to become just more of a spender when you have a little one that you can buy for too. So please think about a budget, start it, leave comments below. All of us can definitely help you with that. So first thing, hospital bills. It's a great idea to find out what comes with your trip to the hospital and what you pay for in addition to what you're just being charged as, I guess, what we'll call your base rate. So we have some family that had a very different hospital experience than what we had, and so when they had their baby, it was a lump sum the way it was set up. So anything that was in the room, they got. And so they're like, oh man, we took a bunch of diapers from the hospital, they gave them to us, and we had a stockpile of little diapers and different helpful things from the hospital. And then we talked to other people who said they ended up, and read articles as well, that a lot of free reading on this, that said they were charged for all these things they didn't know they were being charged for, and they ended up paying an absorbent amount of extra money for little things that if they had known, they would have never taken with them, or never grabbed, or never asked for, or never just said yes to. And so that was more like our experience. So everything for us, and I think it's like this at a lot of hospitals, we went to a major state hospital because we live near one, and everything has a barcode in it. It's like going to the grocery store and at the checkout lane, like the little scanner guns. Nurses were definitely in there scanning every package before they opened it. And if they open a package and it has a bunch of something in it, and even if you only use one, you're going to get charged for the whole package of things. So to help avoid sticker shock in the long run, here's my recommendation. You're hopefully going to take a hospital tour before the day of. If you're living in the area, you're going to have the baby, you don't have big trips planned, you can get a good handle on how much things are going to cost. So on your hospital tour, they're going to tell you, this is this room, this is this room. Ask a lot of questions. Ask what's going to happen in this room, what procedures are going to take place, what things might happen, what things could happen. Then ask about the supplies that are used for that. And then ask about the cost for those supplies. Now, the person giving you the tour probably isn't going to be able to tell you how much things cost. I was surprised how little people who worked at the hospital had any idea of price on anything. But really, that's not their job. Their job is to give you the best medical care that they can, not to know how much that medical care costs. And since everyone's insurance is different, it's really difficult for them to ask that question. So I'd recommend on your hospital tour, talking down, no, don't talk down to anybody. Just talk to whomever they can direct you to that can tell you and give you a breakdown, even a list of how much things cost. And then ask which of those things are part of a common pregnancy. And you know by this point, by the time you're taking your hospital tour, you know a little bit of what you can foresee, possible situations that could arise, difficulties with the pregnancy. So ask about those things and then get prices. Now it takes a little legwork because you have to do that. Then you'll have to cross-check those things with your insurance company. But knowing ahead of time is really going to help avoid a drastically huge sticker shock, because all those little things at the hospital have big price tags. So pay attention, be conscious of what you're getting at the time. And if you know the prices ahead of time, it makes it easier for you to make those quick decisions at the hospital. Because when you're in the delivery room or right afterwards and your wife's in pain and there's like pushing and everything going on and they say we could give her this, do you want to give your wife this? Or they'll ask her, do you want this? If you both know ahead of time what something is and how much it costs, I'm not saying don't get the best care that you can, but some things really aren't necessary. And like I said before, it's the doctor's job to give you what they see as the best care, but that's not always everything that you need. You may need much less than what you're given. And from someone who's not paying for it, of course, yeah, throw it on there. Here's what you can do. We can try this. Do you want to try this? And of course, at the moment, no one knows if that's expensive or not. You can just assume that it is, because it is. So that's my advice. Get prices up front. Have an idea. Go in with a game plan. At least then, if you have to make those quick decisions, you have an idea of what it might cost to do that. If you have a little cheat sheet there with you too. And I know it kind of sounds a little frugal, but I'm not talking about saving like $200, $300 here. I'm talking about you could save yourself thousands of dollars. So that's a big deal. The other thing I would say about your hospital visits, because all of these things will stack up, is check for tax breaks. I'm not a financial guy and I'm not a tax guy by any means, so I can't give you legal advice on this or like official advice on this, but talk to whomever your financial person is, your tax person, and find out, because there are opportunities for you based on how much you paid and how much you earn. There are tax breaks available, so just check it out. So that's number one. That's the biggest one. The next, the biggest upfront. The next is insurance. Remember, you have a certain period of time. For us, I think it was up to a month or 2 months or something like that, to adjust our insurance plan so that we claim a dependent. So remember to do that. Insurance makes a huge difference. So figure out for your budget what's better for you, whether you'd rather pay a higher deductible, more upfront because you have the disposable income, and then you save a little bit on your monthly, or whether or not you just need to have that full coverage plan. You need your prescriptions and everything paid for up front, so you don't have to worry about it. It's really up to you, but make a conscious decision of it. Be prepared, understand what it is, because you can save yourself a lot of money. The third thing out of the four we're going to talk about today, daycare costs. As soon as I found out how much daycare costs, I was ready to quit my job and open up a daycare center. And we didn't go to the most expensive place around us for daycare. We toured those places and found out how nice they are, so we could feel bad about where our daughter went eventually. But we were in the least expensive place, not because we were just looking for the least expensive place, but because that was all that was available. You have to start booking this stuff way, way, way in advance. And despite it being one of the cheapest places in town, least expensive, they're very friendly there, and they love our daughter, and so we've had a pretty good experience with it so far. Our daycare costs as much as our rent does. Actually, just a little bit more than our rent costs. So you have to plan for that well in advance. You can't just wake up tomorrow morning and plan to make an additional rent payment. Like, that's something worth planning and preparing for. Hospital bills are going to be big up front, but daycare you're going to have for a while. So my wife and I both went back to work after I had a very short leave period. She had a rather lengthy leave period, which we appreciated. But we started planning for that basically the day we found out we were pregnant. We started looking at how much daycare was in our area, started pricing some options out, and figuring out from our current budget how much like where that money needed to come from. Like we had to make sure everything was still going to work out, and where money wasn't going to go now that we had that big additional cost. So regionally, daycare costs are going to fluctuate. We looked at au pairs, we looked at like nannies and different things like that, but the daycare ended up being the least expensive in our area by a lot. So look into those costs, be prepared for those ahead of time, because that's another thing. Whatever you think it's going to cost, add more dollars onto it, and that's more likely what it actually costs. Add a lot more dollars onto it. So take a look at that in your budget. Hospital bills, insurance, daycare costs, and the last is pediatrician visits afterward, because you still pay for that stuff. Those doctor visits add up, and you have to have them regularly, so it's not like you have much of a choice for those things. They're great. They give you the checkups on how your child's doing, so they're really important. But be mindful that those are also pediatric visits. Those are going to cost a little bit of money, and your insurance may or may not pick up some portion of it. I think ours picks up a portion of it. So just make sure you're planning for those in advance for your budget. So I hope I didn't sound too frugal. I am very money conscious because I just am. So these are my tips for you. If you want to save some money or at least be mindful, I would definitely recommend a baby budget, a pre-baby budget. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about some to buy or not to buy. That really is the question when you're talking about pre-baby stuff. So if you like this video, please like it below. Like I said, share it with your friends. Leave a comment. If there's something I missed that's a big expense, I'd love to share it with the community, or I'd love for you to share it with the community. So please do. As always, this is Steve Ostapo for Year of the Dad.